Hi, welcome to MiniMaths at DECV, where we do a lot of maths thinking in a little bit of time. Today's topic is the maths at the Melbourne Cup. We've all recently had a day off school so that we could enjoy the carnival atmosphere of the Melbourne Cup. Let's look at what happened at the Melbourne Cup last Tuesday. The sound down so that we can look at the maths, but there's also a lot of maths in the speaking of it. Let's see what we have. Let's start with the shape of the course. What is the shape of the umbrellas? I think it's an octagonal. Look at the crowd numbers. What about the shapes in the gates? There are 24 horses. I wondered about how many legs there are altogether if you count the jockey legs. I wondered about the patterns on the jockey's colours, and I looked at the order in which the horses were running, first, second and third. That's called ordinal number. I looked at the measurements. I looked at the times. There's a colon, there's a decimal point. Two different things. I looked at the meter markings on here. I looked at the finishing post markings and the time on the clock. There are so many mathematical ideas. How fast is each horse running? How much ground was covered? What were the finishing times? How much prize money did each horse collect? How much money did people spend on the races? And what did the winner pay? There is so much maths in the Melbourne Cup, I wonder if I've covered all. The Melbourne Cup is a great time to gather data and statistics. I think the first race was run in 1861, I'm not sure, but every year they collect attendances, how many people went. I wonder if you can pause the tape and read the large numbers there. The other thing you need to read is the percentage. What does 88% of capacity mean? What does 102% of capacity mean? So the other thing you can do is order these in the order of the lowest attendance to the most attendance, but there's a lot of information like that. Here are some other maths ideas you can work with. If we know that in 2018 there were about 88,000 people at the Cup, how much money did they collect? There are the running times. What is the difference between the fastest time ever and on the yesterday's time? Now, let's have a look at some other data and statistics that we have found. Saddlecloth numbers are the numbers the horses wear, and tab numbers are the numbers that they use to make a bet or for a sweep. And we have a lot of data about what past Melbourne Cup winners had done. Here's another way of presenting data. Somebody's gone back, counted all the horses that won, and found out that a horse that is 4 or 5 years old has a 57% chance of being the winner. The other maths we have is the weights of the jockey. In the Melbourne Cup, the better horses have to carry a heavier weight. The lighter horses have to carry, the slower horses have to carry a lighter weight. That's called a handicap. I like the idea of averages in maths. So you need to think about what 54 kilo is. The average weight of the jockey is 54 kilos. Think of a kilogram bag of apples. You need 54 of those to make 54 kilograms. Also, think about a benchmark. The average year 6 child could be anything from about 35 to 60 kilos. So that's called a benchmark. Some people who are superstitious might think about the colours on the Melbourne Cup, so they collect data on that. And another interesting statistic is horses whose names start with I, Q, U, X or Y have never won the Melbourne Cup. Think about why that might be. And finally, some more statistics about how many grey horses have won the Melbourne Cup and how many win more than once. But if you look at these fashions of the field from 1962, look at the geometric patterns on the outfits. And finally, look at this amazing list of wonderings of I wonder what people have come up with for the Melbourne Cup. And each of those I wonder statements can be answered with mathematics. So you see, maths is everywhere. It's all around us and it's a lot of fun. Thank you.